What's up, y'all? Brendan here with another solution walkthrough. I'm a full stack developer based in Brooklyn, New York, and today I'm going to be helping you build out the Madison Square Market, which is part of the Introduction to jQuery course here on Code Academy. What are we going to be doing today? Well, we're going to be touching on why we have to structure our HTML pages the way we do. We're also going to be dipping our toes into the world of jQuery syntax. Some of you might be wondering, what is jQuery used for? Well, remember, jQuery is just a library in JavaScript, so it's just JavaScript. And what do we use JavaScript for? Well, for the context of this course, we're going to be using jQuery to kind of make our websites a little more dynamic. Right now, they're extremely static with the classic HTML and CSS. jQuery is a great library to add a little animation and pizzazz to our otherwise boring and motionless websites. Now, why is jQuery so powerful? jQuery is so powerful because it takes the amount of keystrokes required to type vanilla JavaScript and cuts it by about, I want to say, 80%. The interactive lesson before this project used a great metaphor. Given a bunch of Lego bricks and you have to build a building, why would you build the building piece by piece or brick by brick when you can use the already pre-built building? That's what jQuery does. It just reduces the amount of time necessary to build extremely complex JavaScript code. So let's dive into it. Alrighty, so this is the finished product over here. Notice when you click on a particular menu item, this list appears. When you leave this list area, it disappears. And same for all of these. Okay? Alrighty, so let's start. Madison Square Market wants to use jQuery to make drop-down menus appear and disappear on its homepage. The steps below outline how to write jQuery code that provides the following interactivity. A menu appears when a user clicks on a specific menu header. The menu disappears when the user's mouse exits the menu. Alrighty, step 1. In index.html, use the code below to load the jQuery library. Now, notice on line 56, I've already included it here. And why do we have to put it above main.js, aka where we're going to be writing our jQuery? Well, think about it. This document is loaded from top to bottom. And we need to put this jQuery script before our main.js script because we're going to be using jQuery inside of our main.js. If we move this below main.js and we started writing jQuery in our main.js, our file wouldn't know what language we're writing in because we haven't even imported or defined what jQuery is. So that's why we have to include it above. Now, the question might still remain, okay, well, that makes sense. We have to put this above that because this is where jQuery is actually being defined. And we can't start writing jQuery before our file even knows what jQuery is. So that's why we have to put it up top. But, some of you might be wondering, well, why do we even have to put the scripts all the way at the bottom of this file? And we do that because this is best practice. Remember, the document is loaded from top to bottom. So, the style dependencies in the head will load first. And then these HTML elements will load second. And then these scripts down here will load third. And because these are actually going to be interacting with these HTML and the CSS, it makes sense to put them at the bottom because if we put them at the top and we said, all right, grab this H1 tag and do something with it, well, we haven't even defined that H1 tag yet. So our code would blow up. It wouldn't know what we're talking about with this H1 because according to our code, it doesn't exist yet. And that's because this file loads from top to bottom. And the H1 hasn't even loaded yet. So how are we going to be able to interact with something that's not even defined? That's why we had to put our scripts at the bottom. Okay? All right, so step 1 is done. I have added the script tag here, line 56. Make sure you do that. Okay, step 2, look at index.html. In the header, there are 3 divs with a class of drop-down elements with the following IDs: card, account, and help. When a drop-down menu is moused over, we want its corresponding unordered list with a class of drop-down menu element to appear. then disappear when the mouse leaves the drop-down menu. In main.js, start by using jQuery to add a ready function call to the document. All right, so what does that mean? So that means that we need to grab the document and we say, document, have you finished loading? Is everything ready to go? And once it is, then we're able to say, okay, when the document is ready, do something. Call this function, call this callback function. So within this ready here is where we'll actually be putting our jQuery. Now remember, this is also a jQuery function here. As document, aka our index.html file, when that has finished loading and everything is good to go, then let's start doing something. So step 2 is done. Step 3, in the .ready callback function, add click event handlers to cart, account, and help. Add an empty callback function to each event. Okay, so I'm about to copy and paste here, so don't be alarmed. All right, so when whatever element with an ID of cart is clicked, call this function, aka do something. Same with account and same with help. So step 3 is done. Step 4, inside each header's callback function, use a jQuery method to make the corresponding drop-down menu appear. So if you can remember from the last interactive lesson, what jQuery method do we use to make things appear? .show. Okay. And let's look back at our index.html to grab the appropriate elements. So right now I'm looking for an element with an ID of cart. So an ID of cart, what do we want to show? We want to show that unordered list within it with a class of drop-down menu. Okay, so I'm going to use the cart menu and I'm going to say grab the cart menu and show it. Cart menu .show. And same thing for count. So count menu and help menu show. Save that. Step 4 is done. Step 5. Under the click event handlers, add a mouse leave event handler to each of the drop-down menus. Add an empty callback function. Try targeting by class this time. So let's look back at our index.html, and it wants us to target by class, not ID this time. And let's see here, what are we looking for? So within cart, notice that all of these unordered lists, so there's an unordered list, an unordered list. All of these have classes of drop-down menu, and that's what we want to target here. So let's do that. So back here in my main.js file, I'm just going to copy and paste. So it's saying target the element by class. So that means drop-down menu on mouse leave, call that callback function. So that's what we're doing here. So regardless of whatever drop-down menu is triggered by this event handler mouse leave, what do we want to do? Well, step 6, inside of the callback function, use a jQuery method to make the drop-down menu disappear. So drop-down menu, hide. Let's save that. When we click on this, and because this is an unordered list with a class of drop-down menu and I mouse leave it, this gets triggered. Drop-down menu hide. Now, why are we using class selectors? Well, why would we use ID selectors if this is just basically 2 lines of code? If we used ID selectors and added the same event listener for each one, then that would just be tripling the amount of code we have to write. Whereas I know this one, this is the only unordered list that is showing right now, right? AKA this was triggered. Now, both of the other unordered lists underneath account and underneath help, those aren't showing right now. So if I call .hide, it doesn't matter because they're already hidden. And that's kind of the beauty of using this class selector right here. It just kind of simplifies the whole process. Instead of writing out 3 of these, just close them all. I don't care which one is open or which ones are open, close them all. As soon as the mouse leaves this area, close it. So that's it for our jQuery Madison Square Market project. We added a little bit of interactivity to our nav bar. We were able to click on something, and then when we mouse left, it disappeared. And we used the class selector to just to make it a little simpler. So that is it for our Madison Square Market jQuery project. We've officially finished. We've added some interactivity to our menu, and this just gives it a nice feel. You know, you're hovering over this, and then when you hover off of it, it disappears. And it was cool, line 12 here, because we used the class selector. Now notice on line 12 that we used that class selector, and that just helped us reduce the amount of code we had to write. So no matter what is open, hide them all. As soon as a mouse leaves a particular unordered list with a class of drop-down menu, I don't care if multiple are open at the same time, just close them all. And these are already hidden at the moment, but it doesn't matter. If we just say grab all of the elements with a class of drop-down menu and hide them, then we just reduce the amount of code we had to write. We didn't have to add 3 of these, only 1. And that's the power of jQuery. Alrighty, so I will see you in the next solution walkthrough. Ta-da for now. Happy coding. Bye.